Okay.
So just to briefly share with the audience some of what I got backstage or in the green room, as it were, someone did pay for that,
Yes, they did.
just so you know.
You know, I had to break my foot off in their ass. I tried not to. And being an African American and being bicultural and bilingual, the ghetto came out. So I left all the vowels and consonants and slipped into motherfucker, I'll kill you. Excuse me.
Mr. Avery, don't think I don't get the hint. I will be very careful
please.
with what I say.
Especially now I have a weapon. And I am from New Jersey, so I will hurt you.
Let's start there.
Okay.
You were born in New Jersey?
No, I was born in
Oh, see, now you fooled me.
I was born in Virginia, y'all understand. And I was raised in New Jersey. And I guess I have to go do this whole thing. All my little dirty linen has to come out. I had a football scholarship. I grew up in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And I had a football scholarship to Virginia State in Petersburg, Virginia. Baby, I went. That's why I flunked out. I was 17, never been away from home, and I don't know, those of us who are lucky enough to know historically black colleges, my God, the women in those schools. Like Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors. Oh, my Lord Jesus. Chocolate caramel crunch. Peach Melba. Just fabulous. And I'm 17, so I flunked out of school. Lost my scholarship. And I was raised by a single working mother who never got the memo that a single woman couldn't raise a child, a male child. She never got that memo. Her attitude was, I will raise you, I will kill you. Brought you in this world, take you out, make another one look just like you, and give it your name. Okay? So, needless to say, that summer when I returned home was not a pleasant experience. So I figured, well, I'll show her. I'll join the Navy. Well, I had to join something because they were drafting for the Marines and the Navy during that time for Vietnam. And because I didn't like people giving me orders, being the brilliant 18-year-old that I was, I joined the military. Don't even ask me why. And I was in the service for 4 years. And I got out and decided to stay in California. And I stayed in San Diego. And I went to San Diego City College. And this was 1969. I got it in August of 1969. And those of you who are my age, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, baby. 69, 70. Woo! Wake up in the morning. Hey, hi, who are you? You know. And what can I say? And one of my instructors asked me to audition for a play. I had an oral interpretation class because this was the 70s, so we were very political, and art was to educate the people, and that's what it was. And there was poetry, and there was music, and there were all of these things that were supposed to be exciting and educate us in the political schema of what was going on in the world. And you could all get all the chicks if you knew poetry. And so he asked me to audition for this play called J.B. by Archibald MacLeish. And I was to play God. Come on now. First role on the stage, I'm going to be God. Are you insane? Of course I'm going. So I did it. I auditioned, and I got the role. And there was something about the theater. I fell in love with the theater. I fell in love with rehearsals. I fell in love with working with people. I fell in love with exploring all of those things that you explore intellectually and emotionally. It was just something I'd never experienced before. And so I loved it. And then I got asked to do Merchant of Venice at the Old Globe in San Diego. And I knew the only reason they asked me is because I went and I auditioned. And I had never done Shakespeare before, but I was into poetry. And again, as an African American, the rhythm and of our language and the beauty of that language and the way we use it is something that lends me to that lent itself to that. It's like August Wilson. If you know, you can't do August Wilson if you don't know Shakespeare. His skill and his craft in that language is what you need for those arias to move them along and to get all that stuff going on. Anyway, did Merchant of Venice. Then the girl I was going with at the time went out to, but no, let me get back. Merchant of Venice was kind of, that's the first time I really saw, see, I know I just know how to read the stuff. They pick it up off the page. I didn't know what I was saying necessarily, but I could pick it up off the page like I knew what I was saying. Okay, fine. But I knew that wasn't enough. I knew I needed to know more. And the only way I could get that was to attack them, get them to give me more. Say, no, this is not right. Yeah, that's fine. No, it's not right. It's not fine. I want more. Give me this more. And I did it, and it was great. And then the girl I was going with went out to UCSD, University of California, San Diego, to audition for a play called Clara's Old Man. And they were doing Good Evening, Friends. What is the name of the play? And I thank you for your concern. It's about when, in this mythical southern town, when everybody wakes up and all the black people have disappeared.
Day of absence.
Days of absence, that's it. Including the mayor's son-in-law. And I played the mayor. And it was a wonderful play, and I did that. And it just went on from there. I just kept doing plays, kept doing theater, kept working with language. I never wanted to come to Los Angeles because I never saw anything here for me. I did not want to be the big dumb black guy in the corner. I'm sorry, I just didn't. And but we did. We had our own. I got a fellowship to go to London and study Shakespeare for a year, so I went. And when I got back to San Diego, we started our own theater group, and we would do guerrilla theater. Like we did The Corner by Ed Bullins on a corner in San Diego. We just ride around and find a place and do the play and put down the can. Of course, the police would come. And there were a number of times when I got taken away, parking tickets and whatnot. So, play. I mean, if you know San Diego, this is the police in San Diego, baby. They don't play.
You couldn't get any of those girls to pay your parking tickets?
No. Because see, that was it. I didn't have that many. I was a serial monogamist. I was not a player. Just like, ooh, baby, boom, and I'm stuck with you for 6 years. So that's the way that goes. Anyway, and we had our own little theater company, and we did Sizwe Bonzi is Dead and The Island by Ethel Fulgar. And it was fabulous. And we did a couple of other plays. But the person from the Oregon Shakespeare Festival in Ashland wanted to do the play, but kept saying, and you of African American descent, you will get this, kept saying he couldn't find actors who could do the play and fit into the company, i.e. do Shakespeare, which was bull. But that's okay. So he asked us to bring our production, and we did. And ours was the first black production brought to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. Our director and the actors, and we were there, and we did it. We were there for 2.5 years. And I did Othello up there. We did Merry Wives of Windsor, all kinds of things. It was a wonderful experience. Absolutely wonderful experience. And then, I had to leave because it's the kind of place that's so good it's dangerous. And if you're married or if you have kids, you don't want to go anywhere else because it's beautiful. You get to work. You can leave your door open. And smoking marijuana is a what is it, minor offense?
Misdemeanor.
There you go. Misdemeanor, they'll give you a ticket. Now you stop that. Okay, bye-bye. Okay. Oregon Shakes. And it was great. And I was there for 2.5 years. Then we left and I came down to, actually I was in San Diego. I was sleeping on a friend's couch in San Diego and I was right, trying to get my resume together because I wanted to go do regional theater somewhere. And a buddy named Mel Johnson, who was a casting director at Universal Studios. But he was also, when we were down in San Diego, rumbling around doing theater on the street and all this other stuff, he was down there with us. And he had left a little early and worked as a carpenter, and then he got on as an agent, as a casting agent. And he called down to my friend while I was sleeping. He said, "What you doing?" I said, "I'm sleeping on a couch, trying to get my resume." He said, "You know, fool, you could be sleeping on the couch over here and making you some money." I said, "Okay." So I went to his couch. What the hell? So I slept on his couch. And, you should have shut up. And I remember he set me up to meet agents. He set me up to meet other people. But I remember the first agent I met here was, I told you already, was in the Valley. Looked like one of those Swifty Lazar people with those big glasses and a big diamond ring. And I come in, and I've got my resumes. I've just been doing Shakespeare for 2.5 years. James Avery is brilliant. It says so in black and white. Do you have something that says that? I don't think so. You don't. I'm brilliant. I have testimony to it. Here, I'll give you the privilege of looking at what I am. And he looked at my resumes. And he looked at me and said, "No doubt you're talented, but black actors aren't making us any money this year. See ya." Now, I'm outside the door before I really realize what he said to me. Because nobody talks to me like that. I'm James Avery. Are you insane? And I'm standing out there, and all of a sudden, LaRon wakes up. "What did he say to us? What did he say?" I should go knock that. I said, No. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to stay in this town until I turn to fungus. I'm going to find me a job. Then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to take this son of a bitch to lunch. Somewhere expensive, like Chasen's or something like that. So, yes, please, would you give him anything he wants? Yeah, put it on my tab. Here you go. I'd love to stay and chat, but I got a job, got to go. Bye-bye. And I went to do that, but he was out of business. So that showed me. He said, okay, so that's not, it could be difficult, but not impossible. But I knew that already. I knew that. We all knew that already. It can be difficult, but not impossible. And I remember Melvin kept sending me out. And I remember I walked from Sunset down Doheny, and cut over because I didn't have a car, so I had to take a bus. Down Doheny to Robertson to the light company, which was above the Ivy. And I walked in there because Melvin sent me to go see this guy. And it was late, it was almost 7 o'clock. And I was lucky anybody was there. And this guy looked at me. I gave him my resume. I'm getting ready, I'm already walking down to wake up LaRon out of his room. So we're gonna have to use you, LaRon. And he looked at me. Somebody came through, said they needed football player types for a British Overseas Airways commercial. So he said, okay, if you get the job, I'll sign you up. I got the job. And from then on, Mel just kept bringing me in on stuff. My first big gig was Tales of the Gold Monkey. And I remember they wanted me to teach Bubba Smith how to speak in an African dialect. So of course, me being, myself, I looked at him and said, okay, which African dialect do you mean? There are many African dialects. I said, well, just make it West Indian. Okay, which West Indian dialect do you mean? I just wanted to know. How we gonna do it? Because he gonna pay me, hell. And that's really where I kind of understood the gap between cultures. What we did and did not know, But this craft, this thing of acting, I don't know. it catches you and it doesn't let you go. You know, you look at yourself and you're like, fool, you should be doing anything else in the world. You're a fairly intelligent person. You're well-read, you're literate. You could be doing anything else in the world besides having somebody said, well, no, we're going another way. What the hell is this? When I'm lucky enough, I started getting jobs, all kinds of jobs, and Fresh Prince and all those things. And that was funny because I remember that because it was the last day. They called in everybody, and they called me for Jeffrey and for Uncle Phil. And Joe Marcel, they'd just flown Joe over from London because they'd seen him in something August Wilson did, 7 Guitars or something. And so we hit it off. We were laughing and talking outside, just, people coming out. Would you just be quiet, please? Okay. So I'm like, this is like, how this is. It's like near the end of the month. I got 3 auditions. Rent is due. We got to get something going. You know what I'm saying? I don't particularly care what this is. But I need to pay the rent. Thank you very much. And they were talking about, Will Smith. I said, Will, who, what? What is he? He said, a rapper. Okay, and what is that? So I listen to jazz, R&B, and classical music. This rap shit, I don't know what that is. Doesn't make any sense to me. So I said, okay, he's a big rapper. Okay, fine. So they called me in the room, and the room with the table and the people lined up, and the vacuum like feeling where they're gonna suck all the air out of your breath. And they're sitting there, make me laugh. Be funny, you pig. As I sit here and smoke this. And I see this kid sitting over here with his feet up on the table and his hair turned around, his hat turned around. So I walk in and I look at him and I say, I guess he's the one I'm reading with, to take your feet off the table. Turn that hat around and look at me when I talk to you. That's because I didn't care. I had 2 other auditions. You understand what I'm saying? I gotta get me one of these jobs. And I hopped back in my car and I got the job. By the time I got back, I did. By the time I got back to my house, the phone was ringing. It's like, oh, fine. And it's and because of that, I could do theater. Which I know that sounds strange because, if the theater will not pay you any money, you will not get rich doing the theater. You all know that. Why do we do it? God only knows. And I talked, and these kids don't understand. Some of these new kids, it was when I was in college, it was, they would say, I'm never going to do television. I'm only going to do theater and film. And I'm like, well, you must have a trust fund. Okay. I need to make me some money. And I remember talking to someone about the difference between film and theater. I said, the theater is a living, growing, breathing thing. It's never the same. No matter how many times you've done a play, it's never the same. No matter how many nights you do it, it's never the same. It changes all the time. Film, once you've done that role, and you've done it well, I'm not saying you haven't, that's it. It's gonna be like that through all time. And please, I just believe in, getting the job. Do voice work, do commercials, do whatever you need to do to get a paycheck. Because one of my teachers told me once that you're only an actor when you're acting, the rest of the time you're unemployed. That's the bottom line. And I remember too, I'm sorry to be running my mouth so much.
No.
I remember I was in Atlanta.
We're going to go back over some of this.
Okay, fine. Keep a note.
We're going to in depth.
I remember I was in Atlanta doing some little cheap, dirty movie. but they paid me my price. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you. And this kid, he was about 20, 21, came over and asked me, he said, well, I want to be an actor, what do I do? I said, well, number one, if you want to be an actor, I wouldn't be having this conversation. Because you'd be acting somewhere. He looked at me, I said, yeah. He said, well, what did you do? So I went to school, I studied Shakespeare, and he said, well, I don't want to know no damn Shakespeare. I want to do movies and TV. I said, needless to say, boy, as long as you black and in America, there ain't no such thing as knowledge you don't need. What don't you need to know? I don't need to know this. You need to know everything you need to know. And that's what's so exciting about the craft of acting. Everything you want to know or been curious about, you can use. You can use. You examine, you research, you find out all these things, all these little bits of information that somehow comes true, that you can use. It's amazing to me. And that's probably what got me excited about it. Was that whole rehearsal process. Sitting down with people trying to work out, what is this? What is the meat of this? What are we saying here? What are we finding out? Who am I? What's going on? I remember I had a transactional analysis class in college, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? It's about finding out about your state, your childhood state, and all this. And I'm like, how am I going to use this? When am I ever going to be able to use something so esoteric? But I did. I found myself using it. I remember we had voice classes, and when I was at the Oregon Shakes, there were 3 theaters. There was a 150-seat little black Swan in the round. There was a 600-seat Bomer, which is you could whisper on the stage to be heard, and there was a 1,500-seat outdoor theater with no microphones. Okay, your makeup couldn't carry past the 5th row. Okay, and you played in all of those spaces. All right. And I had Kristen Linkletter's technique when I was in college. And I didn't realize how lucky I was until we got up there and we had to play in all 3 of those spaces. We got on that outdoor stage, and it was like it was from an old Chautauqua building. And there was a wall way in the back, way back there in the dark somewhere. And me and my buddy John Houston, because we were the ones that went there together. Everybody around us had vocal nodes before the season was over. We went sailing right on through. It was like, oh, well, damn, I guess they did know what they were talking about. I guess they did. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Questions? What?
You mentioned a technique. What was the technique again?
What, vocal technique?
Yeah.
Kristen Linkletter.
And what was some of what?
Freeing the natural voice. It was a way to
supporting with your diaphragm.
But thinking your voice where you need to send it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to use power if you think it. Now, that sounds esoteric. I can talk to him, and I can send it there, and I'm not yelling at all. Now, you've got a microphone on me. I don't really need it, but you put it on me.
I didn't do it.
I know you didn't. And it's a way of getting to your freeing the natural voice is her book, and it gets to how you, because a lot of us talk a couple of octaves higher or lower than our natural voices. And those of us who have dialects or bad vocal habits, that you want to break somehow. Because the thing is, you want to be able to do as much work as possible.
Do you write?
Yes. Yes, I do. That was a problem too. Because I had to do either one or the other. Mm-hmm. I had to focus on one or the other.
At what point?
Now that I can't act that anymore, it seems like I guess I have to focus on that now. No. That was when I was a kid, I used to write. And, oh God, I was home. My mother broke out some of my stuff. And this was the most it's like, so adolescent writing was the most self-centered, melodramatic bullshit I ever read in my life. I couldn't believe that was really me. But anyway.
Do you write? Have you ever produced anything you've written? Do you write for performance?
I've put together shows with poetry and readers who read that, because I like that, and because I'm into African American literature, and there's so many beautiful pieces that never get done, and it's not just and I think I like the old days. In the '70s, used to put together shows of poetry and music and dance and song, and it was like a celebration of culture. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it was something, we don't do that anymore because it's expensive, I guess, and because, I don't know why. But anyway, I kind of miss that, because I like language. I like the words, I like the words. English is a wonderful language, It's a wonderful language.
Well, everything was a success. You telling the story. There was never any hiccups in the story or bumps in the road. No, I know. Let's go back to some. Let's go back to some of those.
Of course.
Let me just ask. So you knew that there was this Shakespeare production. You decided you wanted the very first time. You decided you wanted. You said you auditioned for it.
Yeah.
You just said, "Yeah, I can do that."
You see, I'm a vet. Mm-hmm. And our whole attitude, those of us who are vets out there, you know what I'm talking about. Our whole attitude is, what you gonna do? Mm-hmm. I've been to Vietnam. What the fuck you gonna do? All you can do is say no.
Yeah.
Please. I ain't worried about that.
Yeah, but you, in other words, sure, when you're dealing with other people saying yes or no, what do you care? But have there been moments when you put the pressure
terrified.
On yourself? Okay, that's
I was terrified. I was terrified. You have to understand, see, when I decided to stay in California, I was by myself. Mm-hmm. I had $500 in the bank. All of my family was 3,000 miles away. And there was nothing they could do for me. Absolutely nothing they could do for me. I said, Mom, I need $500. Yeah, baby, so do I. If you find it, send me some. That's it. I mean, I'd love to be able to do that for you. I would love to do it, but I couldn't. My VA checks were late. 6 months late. I wound up sleeping on the street. I couldn't find a job. And that was one. Yeah, those are a lot of those things. But it was also a matter of going. No, I'm not going back home. What am I going to do if I go back home? If I go back home, I'll never get away again. And the idea of having someone say to me, "Well, see, I knew you couldn't do it anyway." Oh no! No. I know that couldn't happen.
Was your mom on board the whole time? Did you have to convince her?
No, my mother was not on board the whole time. My mother did not understand. She used to say, "Look, sweetheart, you've been in college for what, 6 years? Come home. I know somebody who works with the city will get you a nice job. They got a nice pension. You need, because my mom was from the old school. I know a job. I know, doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. You get, you have a secure pension. That's what you do. You don't be actor. What? What is this?" And I remember when I was at the Oregon Shakes, I got a chance to fly her out. I was doing a fellow. And I flew her out, and that was the first time she'd ever seen me perform. And I never will forget this as long as, oh, goodness.
You'll get me too. We'll both be sitting up here.
I came out, Dennis Arndt played my Othello. And luckily we had a standing ovation that night. And I came out of the back, and my mother was standing there. And she said, I know why we had such a problem. So why? Because I got the exact kind of child I wanted to raise. Say, I wanted you to, a man child is supposed to be unafraid, to go out into the world and do what he wants to do with no fear. And you did. And that makes me feel like I have succeeded, And how could I tell her? Because I remember, and I would think, I said, I remember that I lived in the same house for 18 years. My gas, lights, and telephone never turned off. I had 3 meals a day, every day. A couple of those meals might have been oatmeal, but I ate them. I knew where my mother was every hour of every day. And I didn't realize what a major accomplishment that was. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And for me to go out into the world and do this, to not even have to think about it. You know what I'm saying? That's an amazing, I might have been foolish. I made a lot of foolish mistakes in my life. But it was her that gave me the strength to do that, to check out the world, and the arts. What's more scary than the arts? And the arts depend on you in here finding out about that. And how many of us really want to know that much about ourselves? Come on now. How much of us really want to know that much about ourselves? Rather just keep it a secret. Let's keep it back off over here somewhere. I can blame somebody else. No, that wasn't me. That was something else.
You say it's, but I think if you're a certain kind of person, scarier than the arts is not being in the arts.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about the arts. It's something you have to do. Mm-hmm. I tell kids all the time, I said, don't do this. They said, well, my kid wants to be an actor or an actress. What do? I said, you put as many obstacles in their path as possible. If they do it in spite of you, and they'll be fine. Because if you're going to get afraid or scared away by being hungry or homeless, then you don't need to do this. If rejection is something that will crush you to where you'll be crying in a corner, unable to move, you don't need to do this. If you want to be rich and famous, you need to go do something else. Don't ask me what, because if I knew what it was, I'd be doing it.
Ever a time when rejection almost got you?
Oh yeah. And and isn't it interesting, people? You're supposed to do a good job. And no one is supposed to see your work. You know what I mean? If you're on screen, you're on stage, no one is supposed to see the work. It's supposed to be effortless and smooth, as if it belongs to you. But because of that, no one can see you doing anything else. It's a contrast. I don't understand. You get in a successful series, you do that series, you play the role like you're supposed to play it. It's the only way you're supposed to play it, But then, after that series goes, they say, well, people won't see you anywhere. It's not the people who won't see me. It's you. And age, and women know what I'm talking about. See, a woman doesn't get interesting until she's 35. Okay? You can be cute and all that, but you ain't interested until you're 35. At least. When your bullshit quotient is like shrunk down to here, and you've got stuff gathered in and spiced up, then you're interesting. Seasoned. Now, hard bodies, okay, you're cute, you're fine, okay. But after the old horizontal mambo, you put. And when you're 50, and you're a male 50 years old, you become invisible anyway, so it doesn't matter. They don't see you. I'm sorry, they don't. And it's just, so the things that you see on TV, this is not life. And I watch it, and it's funny because a lot of these sitcoms nowadays are all about getting some or giving it up.
You're not gonna let something stop you, in other words, doing Shakespeare. Or I find it ironic that the place you were first, you got that response from the agent. I would have thought you would have that the perception of an Oregon or a San Diego, I would expect that kind of reaction much more in those places than I would in Los Angeles.
Son, I'm black. Now let's be real. That's not a reaction that I don't expect. Okay? I was raised with that reaction. That this is not going to shock you. I remember I came home crying about something. And my mother said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "Well, blah, blah, blah." She said, "Boy, let me tell you something. You come from a people who built the pyramids and invented geometry. Now, all of a sudden, you can't do shit because a white man don't let you. Get out of my face." Please, because that was not, that was just not an option. So you can do anything you want to do. It might be difficult. I said, look at who you, and I try to tell these kids, I said, look at who you are. Look at what you came from. Okay? I mean, let's look at this. Please forgive me, don't get you feeling.
I'm upset. I'm okay.
Look at, now you look at slavery. Just the pure mechanics of that particular institution. Okay? To begin with, they killed the very old, they killed the very young, they killed the very sick. Okay? Most slaves were taken from the inland, from wherever they were born. Okay? You had to survive that first selection process. Then you had to survive the march from wherever you were taken through the jungles to the coast. Then you had to survive the wait for the ship, which was 4 to 6 weeks. Then you had to survive the boat ride. And keep in mind that the North Atlantic sea shark changed its swimming patterns to follow the slave ships. Okay? Then you had to survive the quarantine when you got to wherever you were, because you were quarantined for 4 to 6 weeks. Then you had to survive long enough to procreate when the average infant mortality rate for a white child with the best available medical care and food at the time was 3 out of 5 before the age of 1. Now, after you come through all of that, and then you got to survive the next 200 or 300 years with your brain intact, with everybody telling you that you're worth nothing, that your work is worth nothing, that you're stupid, that you're an animal, that you're 3/5 human. So when you get here to this particular point in time, please, please, what you gonna do? Huh? What you gonna do? And that's not. But then again, that's all of us. In the movie Armstead, there's a line that Chinque says that I say that, my wife gets so sick of me saying it, but that's too bad. And they say that he's going to court. They say, "Well, aren't you going to be afraid?" He said, "No." "You're going to be by yourself?" "No, I'm not." He said, "What do you mean?" "I'll have all of my ancestors with me." "What are you talking about?" "Because at this moment in time, I am the sole reason for their existence." All of you, think about that. At this moment in time, you are the sole reason for their existence, for all your ancestors' existence. That is an amazing history of survival for all of us. For all of us, because we could have been cut off at any time. So all of a sudden, here we are in 2007, and you're going to get upset, whatever. And you're going to get upset because you can't buy a new Mercedes? Oh, please. Ooh. I just don't have time.
So then, speaking about your experience, one of our audience members has a question. It's Brian Robinson. He said, "I know you're a tall guy, and I'm 6'5" myself. Did your height work against you when you first started out in the business?"
Yeah, Dad, I got, what's his name? Fired me because I was too tall. The guy from Star Trek.
Roddenberry.
No. That played Captain Kirk.
William
Shatner. He was doing a police show.
Mm-hmm. T.J. Hooker.
T.J. Hooker. And I came here and I auditioned. They had a big audition. And I got selected. I mean, the producer wanted me, the director wanted me, the casting person wanted me. I showed up on the set. He came out, he looked at me. He walked over to them. And I was gone. And the funny thing was, he guest starred on Fresh Prince.
Did you buy him dinner at Chasen's?
I just smiled and said, hi, how are you? How you doing? It's one of those little gems you like to keep to yourself.
Did he remember?
No, absolutely not.
It was a blip in his life.
Oh, please. If that, you know, but it's those kind of things that kind of, I don't want to cheapen the revenge by somehow making it real or loud or whatever. I like keeping it to myself. It's a little things that I can say this. You don't remember that you fired me, do you?
And he's had a bit of a career renaissance. This was before that. He wasn't,
Yeah.
he was in the.
It was after T.J. Hooker. For a long time before he did anything. You know, but that's, you know.
You were talking about getting known as a particular character. Was there a freedom prior? You did a lot of guest stars, TV guest stars. You did, I think, you probably had a board in your apartment. You said, I got that show, I got to get this.
I did LA Law, I did Hill Street Blues, I did, but the business was different then. There was more stuff to do. There was more stuff to do. I don't know why, but it just seemed like there was more work. There were people you could make a living. You could raise children on guest starring on episodics. You didn't have to be a regular. It was amazing, and everybody was working. And you see everybody all the time. Hey, what's up? Hey, I'm going to work. What are you doing? Going to work. You know, you see each other at auditions, and people were happy. Hi. What are you here for? Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, was there a moment when you realized, I guess after Fresh Prince, or during perhaps, when you said, I can't, I'm in a box, you know, I'm locked into this one character. Do you remember that moment where
I was
did
having
somebody
too much
say
fun.
something? Yeah.
I was having too much fun because we had fun. You know, we had fun. We liked each other. We loved going to work together. You know, I know people say that, but it's true. It's true.
We have a couple from the audience about your experience on there. The first one, I'm looking for another one, but Adrian Turner wants to know, what was your favorite moment on the set of Fresh Prince, and what advice do you have for child actors?
Oh, for child actors, I have advice for their parents. Stay. Keep them children. Stay on their butts. Let them understand who and what they are. And as soon as it stops being fun for them, let them go. You know, as soon as it stops being fun, stop the show. Don't become dependent financially on your children. That's the worst thing you can possibly do for them as well as yourself. Tatiana, who played my youngest daughter, had chores to do. Okay? On the weekends, you clean the bathroom like your sisters. You know, I don't know what to tell you, Miss Star. Okay. You wash the clothes. You do what you do. You do what children do. I mean, I'm from the old school. And in my old school, kids had things to do. You know, you didn't just lay around and go play with your bikes. You had things to do. You got up on Saturday morning, you had to clean the bathroom, then you go outside. As a matter of fact, please go outside. Just go outside. Don't come. I don't want to see you till dinner time. Get out. You know, I don't like this. Really, you're gonna be awfully hungry. Because this is what we're having for dinner. I don't know what you want.
Did you see a lot of kids come through, and you see, you know, the stage mom?
Yeah, I did. And I did a movie called License to Drive with, what's his name?
John Cryer?
No. Yeah, Corey Haim. Boy, I wanted to, ooh. And his mother was his manager. Oh, and the way he talked to this woman, you know, I wanted to slap him. I just wanted to slap him. And he was a nice kid, and I blame her because she didn't bring him the discipline that he needed. And he came up to me and he said, you know, man, Avery, you're a nice guy. We should hang out. I said, I don't hang out with 18-year-olds. What the hell I need to hang out with you for? Even little boy. But you know, he was grown. He was grown. He had what, $30,000, $50,000 cars. He'd wrecked them. He could talk to his mother any way he wanted, and he cussed at her. If I had ever let that thought cross my mind, I know she would have seen it. I've been riding a short bus. Ever. And you know I'm telling the truth. Yes. Even to this day. Are you insane? And I don't get it. And it hurt him. You know, with the drugs, with everything else. Mm-hmm. Because he didn't know who and what he was.
Now he's on a reality show.
Yeah. But you need to know, you know, it's like, remember in the holidays, and there was the grown-ups table and the kids table?
I like to sit at the kids' table sometimes, even now.
Yeah, even now. And you couldn't wait. When you sat at the kids' table, you couldn't wait till you got to sit at the grown-up table. But by the time you got to sit at the grown-up table, you knew how to act. You didn't make no mistakes. You take part in the conversation like an adult. You know, that was it. It's like you knowing where you fit in time. Knowing where you fit in time, that I'm growing up now. These things are part of an adult behavior. You know, these things, well, anyway, I'm sorry.
Was that Will Smith with his feet up on the desk?
Mm-hmm. But see, Will, he got back. He came back. But his training was different. See, his mother and my mother are like best friends. They're best friends, and so you know we knew them. I know them in Philly, and
had been.
No, they became best friends.
Okay.
You know, and it was like they'd known each other forever, and so I know the kind of upbringing he had. He said his mother was known to have the quickest backhand in the world. Pow! he said, just come out of nowhere. Pow! He's like, what, Ma? He said, because she never could shut his mouth. He just run his mouth all the time. And she'd get him, pow! You know?
He did 6 Degrees of Separation while he was he was doing Fresh Prince?
We had a conversation, because he discovered acting as a craft. He discovered that he liked it. And I remember we were talking about it or whatever. Because like Joe Marcel and I, Joe Marcel, I don't know if you know this, the guy who played Jeffrey, was with the Royal Shakespeare Company for 9 years. He's brilliant actor, and Shakespearean actor. And Tatiana, who played Ashley, made her debut on Broadway in Fences with James Earl Jones. And was on it's a little children's show for a long time. Karen Parsons, who played Hillary, was just brilliant. Just funny. I mean, that was not at all like her. Let me tell you about Karen. When we found out that we were going to do the pilot for Fresh Prince, she was working as a hostess at a restaurant on Melrose. When they picked it up and shot the first show, for the first week, she would be on stage, do her thing, and go back to her job at the restaurant on Melrose. I said, Karen, well, you never know. you know, and I might need my little job. You know, so this is how she thought, you know, that's how. And Janet Hubert Whitten, who was our first, she was a triple threat from Broadway. Singer, dancer, actress. She was in Cats. She was in Bold and Brown Sugar. She danced. The girl could dance. Oh, she was sing, and she was beautiful. And she was the first dark-skinned heroine on television who wasn't a hoe.
Yep.
wasn't a hoe, who loved her children and was known to say, "Oh, we about to get real busy off up in here." You know, and that was, I mean, there are little things that people don't see that was done. The thing about, I don't know, and it all boils down to this country, the media and the arts and this country. What makes this country rich is the mixture of people that we have. What makes this country rich is all the colors, the flavors, and the arts that blend and come up with something else. You know? And what makes America unique is us. It's us. Sorry. You know, other place in the world have us to mix with. The only culture you export to the world is ours. Singing, dancing, style, flash. You have it. You get it. You absorb it just by being around us. See, I've seen you with your little dancing thing.
I got that from you.
I know you did. See?
So you shot the pilot. How was the pilot?
Oh,
everybody get along right away?
We had a ball. We had an absolute ball.
Did you have to wait then to find out if it got picked up?
Yeah, I think we waited about a week or so.
Oh, that's
As a matter
nothing.
of fact, the funny thing was, because we did the pilot and got the money. I got the money. You remember those days? Woo! And I think we went back east. My wife and I went back east to see my mom and whatnot. I remember coming back in the airport, and we ran into one of the people who were producing the show. And he told us we got picked up. It's like, whoa!
In the airport.
That's great. And then we're living in sitcom world. Oh my God. I love living in sitcom world. There's nothing like living in sitcom world. You have no idea.
Tell us.
And oh, Jesus, it's fabulous. I don't know what to tell you. You know, you're going to hotels, first class hotels, you're getting, is this the house wine? What? No. Is this the car? Thank you. You know, things break, give me a new one. Oh no, give me 3 of those. Okay, bye. It's wonderful.
Well, somebody has a question about that.
Okay.
I'm going to ask 2, but the first one I have is, we'll come back to the meat of the show, but Micah Ja Mott, is that correct? Micaiah. All right. Since you are one of our favorite actors, and since I presume you are a good friend and colleague of Will Smith, why have you never been in any of his many projects? I keep looking for you to turn up next to him on screen.
I don't know. Well, I think it's I don't think you can rely on that, and I don't want my career to rely on my friendship with Will Smith. Okay? I think it's about, I think he wants to keep that in a strange way distant. But that's not to say that we won't be together in something, you know? Mm-hmm. But I think he's also about the business of making his self known, as opposed to the Will Smith on TV. To distancing himself from that. You know, I don't know.
Have you ever had an opportunity to turn around and help and give somebody else a boost up?
I have. What have I done? Yeah. I tried to, but you know, that's a dangerous thing to do. Unless you know their work. Unless you can see their work and say, it's really great. You know, now I've done that. As a matter of fact, I had a professor at UCSD called Floyd Gaffney, Dr. Floyd Gaffney, who was absolutely my mentor, absolutely wonderful, whose youngest daughter, is absolutely brilliant, who went to NYU, who's got her MFA, who's in San Diego and trying to come up here. So we're trying to bring her up here because she's a brilliant actress. And I know that because I've seen her and I watched her grow up. And I've seen this stuff. For somebody to come to me that I don't know and say, I want to do this, can you help me? I have to see them. I have to see you do what it is you do.
I do this.
See, that's it. That's it. That's it. Look, that's it. There you go. There you go. That's what he was doing. You know what I mean? And then again, maybe it's sometimes because I don't remember anybody doing that for me. Nobody did that for me. Anything I ever got, well, Melvin, because he was a casting agent, and we'd work together. But other than that, any other actors no, they didn't. So it's like, if you want to do this bad enough, then you're supposed to do this. I don't know. Maybe it's crazy.
I'm gonna change your question a little bit, Sandy. You said Will Smith discovered acting. And then we also talked briefly, and I want to talk more about. You said he talked to you before, or he did 6 Degrees of Separation. Mm-hmm. Could you talk about his growth over the course of Fresh Prince?
Well, we wanted him to grow more, but money got in the way about that. But 6 Degrees was important because I remember saying, if you want to know what acting is, then you have to do something that is totally unlike you. That is not you. That has no part of you in it. Mm. As far away from you as possible. And like Jamie Foxx, what is his name?
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx, is that his name?
Yeah, that's his name.
When he did Ray Charles. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was totally, and he's a caricaturist and an imitator, fine, but the quality of what he did was brilliant. But he hasn't done anything like that since. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not putting the brother down. Please don't think that I am. I'm just saying that to understand that one time he did understand the quality of acting is when you change yourself totally into something else. And he said that. And an interesting thing about Will is, he said the only thing that pisses him off is that when it came to him kissing the dude, he flaked out. Mm. He flaked out. He said, I should have tongued him. That's the role. That's the role. That's who he was. Because I saw 6 Degrees in New York on Broadway. With what's his name? Who was on Law and Order? Courtney Vance. Why am I not able to remember a goddamn thing?
That's why we have them.
Thank God you're here. Jesus.
So, what roles haven't you gotten to play that you've always? Is there a role, a theater role, or a television role
Lear.
that you've always wanted to play? Lear.
Well, everybody wants to play Lear. Every adult role in August Wilson. Everything. I don't know. We did a black version of Death of a Salesman years ago. It was brilliant. It was wonderful. We did Much Ado About Nothing at the Long Wharf. Mm-hmm. An all black Much Ado About Nothing.
Connecticut?
At the Long Wharf. It was brilliant. There are 2 songs in Much Ado, and the director's friend transposed them into like an old Ellington song. Hmm. It's supposed to take place in like 1919, 1920s. It was fabulous. And the confrontation scene between Hero's father and her lover who turned her down took place in a pool hall. I played the father, so I could snatch his little ass up. Well, my daughter, I will kill you. It was great. That's it. The theater is so much fun. It's so much fun. So I say, I know everybody wants to do movies. I know everybody wants to be a movie star. And I know you kids want to do all that too. But the fun and exploration is in the theater. You become a literate person. You have to be literate to be in the theater. You have to know how to read. You have to know what you're reading to be in the theater. And no, you can't do it over again. No second takes. No second takes. No, okay, stop. Let me take that again because I forgot the line. Ain't happening.
I'm going to change a question again. Derek Shawn, do you have a process for preparing for a theater role?
Depends on what it is. For well, we just did Jitney by August Wilson. So that's all in the page. It's all on the page, and you look at the time and all of that. It's everything that you need to know. That you need to know that you're not necessarily able to act, but you need to ground yourself in that reality. In Shakespeare, you've got to know the history. You've got to know the history. You've got to know the vocabulary. You know, there are all kinds of, I always pick up, I love secondhand bookstores. I love secondhand bookstores. So I always pick up books on Shakespeare, or what things mean. If I'm going to take a class, I'll take a class in Shakespeare. It's like out at the Will Geer's Theatrica Botanica, which has wonderful classes. And I did Othello out there, which was the first place I got a job when I got to LA was out there. You know, it was funny. And what it is it's language. It's language and words, a vocabulary, knowing what to say, knowing how to say it, being able to do more than say, hey, motherfucker. Being able to speak clearly, being able to go, most potent grave and reverend seniors, my very noble and approved good masters, that I have ta'en away this old man's daughter, 'tis most true. True, I have married her. The very head in front of my offending hath this extent no more. So,
Have you ever taken a role that you wish you could have back?
yes. For the money. But then again, I'm sure we all have.
Have you been able to say no to things?
Oh yeah. I've done that. No, I can't do that.
Do you remember the first time you got to say no to something?
I was broke. And I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I forgot what this piece was, but it was just, yes, I do. I was doing a series called Sparks. And just before it ended, there was another show coming on called, I forget, it take place in slavery times. And it was a sitcom. And they sent me the script. And I remember, I read it, I couldn't believe it. Number one, I couldn't believe it. Number one, I couldn't believe that a black man had put this together in the first place. That this is a sitcom set in slavery time? What is that? That doesn't make sense to me. But I remember writing on the script, when you have a sitcom set in Buchenwald, call me.
What'd you think of Life is Beautiful? Just curious.
I don't even think I saw that.
That was the Roberto Benigni in the concentration camp, which started out basically.
Oh, yes.
The tenor of it was similar to a sitcom for a while.
Yeah, no. See, it's very different. That was a beautiful film. That was a beautiful film. He was beautiful. The little guy is what made it. I mean, you just see that horror through his eyes. That was wonderful. But this other thing was just stupid. It was just plain stupid and poor taste. Bad taste and stupid. You know? And I know too much history. I know that, you know, he's got somebody's black guy sitting in a box in the theater with Lincoln. Come on. You know, Lincoln is a cross-dresser and oh God, So Desmond Pfeiffer's Secret Diary, is that what it was? Yes. And I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. I mean, outrage. I was like, what? Huh?
Protested against that.
Yes. I could not believe it.
One of our audience members protested against that sitcom.
Yes. You got something else to say?
I'm just letting them know. Just letting the people know. I'm not sure. I think we can guess the answer. Chris wants to know, how did you break the stereotype that most African Americans, and I think it has to do with education and your
Yes, but I don't know if
your
I
work and
broke
your
a
effort.
stereotype. I don't know if I broke any kind of stereotype. Well, then again, that's interesting, because when I first got here, there were questions they asked the agent that I finally got, and one of them was he gay? And I was like, well, what? Why would they ask that? He said, well, the way you speak. I said, well, if I was, what difference does it make? So you're telling me that as an African American, I can't use vowels and consonants? Is this what you're saying? I'm not even supposed to know what those words mean. Just saying. Okay. So those are, but that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about stereotypes that aren't out. There's stereotypes in the great beyond up here with them. Those are where the stereotypes are. They have the stereotypes. The people down here, the people that watch television, people that see the media, they don't have those stereotypes. You know, what you give them, the material you give them, you know, you give them these things. You give them these images. You know, you give them images of who and what we are, which not who and what we are. And those of us who are in the business to make money give those same images back, because those images make money, and those are the ones that people want. And it's just a vicious circle. I remember I was at this thing called the Trumpet Award, which is a wonderful, wonderful function. And they put me on a panel about the images of African Americans on the media. And I said, well, you know, actually, the only color that matters in Hollywood is green. That's it. Now, if you got a problem with these other things, then don't go to the movie. Don't watch them on TV. You know, they want to make money. That's all that matters. And whatever you're going to give them that's going to make money is what they're going to put on. You know? Now, right now, on the media, it's pitiful. Yes, I said it. It's pitiful. Because, you know, this country is much more mixed than that. I mean, Hollywood is much more mixed than that. We all have friends of varying shades. All of us do. You know, and we don't see that color necessarily. They're just friends of ours. You know? But I look on this television, I don't see anybody. I don't see any person of color. And God forbid, poor little Asian people, my Lord Jesus. If it wasn't for heroes, I mean, God damn, they don't exist anywhere. You know, God, you know, Asians, they don't exist. You know, and that's just very strange to me.
Do you applaud Tyler Perry for making his own studio out there in Atlanta and telling his own stories, or no?
For that, yeah. The quality of the stories, I have an issue with. For the ability to go out there and do what he wants to do, but what he wants to do is, Avery, I shouldn't say this, shut up. Because the brother's got studios, and the brother is employing people, and Richard Pryor once said, be happy for anybody in the business who's making money. And I am. I just wish it was of a different quality. That's all.
That's kind of why I asked, actually.
I know
was
why you
surprised
asked.
that you
You ain't
don't.
slick.
I try to be as obvious as possible.
And you succeed.
Thank you. I don't even know what I asked. But I know what Philadelphia Springfield asked. Philadelphia?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know whether I was going to identify it as a he or she. Now I know. She asked, after having such a successful career, what motivates you to stay hungry?
The fact that I'm unemployed. No, I mean, it's not about, I like doing what I do. I like being an actor. I like acting. I'm going to Houston in June, and we're going to do Jitney again. I'm going to, I do voiceovers. I do whatever I need to do. I'm still auditioning. I like working. I like my work. And luckily I have a wife who has a very good job. Sister, thank you very much. PhD. Doctor. All right? Doctor. That's right. Makes lots of money. Very happy, thank you.
If somebody said they'd match your exact income dollar for dollar as an actor, and you could be a scuba diver or a snorkeler, would you do that? Or
I do that
still
anyway.
pick acting?
I do acting. I do that anyway. I am a snorkeler.
I know.
I am a scuba diver.
It's out there.
I love
I
it.
found that.
But I do,
What do you love about it?
I can see being weightless, being in the ocean, being in a magic environment.
Where are
That's
some
what I
of
love.
some of your favorite places to go?
Oh, Grenada and the West Indies, and there's an island off the coast of Puerto Rico called Vieques, Bali, any place. I want to go to, we were in a place that was in World War II, one of these little islands like Midway off the coast, one of these little atolls. It was just spectacular. Spectacular.
Is that one of the best things about doing well as an actor, being able to go and travel and see
That's
the
one
history?
of the best things about doing well, period. is being able to travel and see. I love history. I'm a history buff. And I love it.
Is that why the
Absolutely
Navy?
love it. Huh?
Is that why the Navy, as opposed to?
No, yeah, the Navy. That's why the Navy. The Navy was, I could sail. And I wasn't going to be in the Marines. And I wasn't about to do the Army. They were scary. People would get killed. I mean, like right away. I mean, like right away. I said, no, we'll do the Navy thing. Maybe that's a little whatever. I was going to do the Air Force, but they wanted to wait too long. And I knew I was going to get, and I got drafted when I was in boot camp. So it was a good choice on my part.
What's your favorite city?
Oh man, there's so many cities. There's so many. San Francisco, Bay Area. It's fabulous. Mendocino. The Orcas, the San Juan Islands, Paris, London, Budapest, Juno. What can I say? It's fabulous world.
You been to Juneau?
I've been to Budapest. Juno, no. Too many mosquitoes.
It's the only state capital that is not inaccessible by either by car. You have to go by plane or boat.
I have to go, duh, is this where you're from?
No, but I've been there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I want to go.
No, it's a little hokey because it's basically run by the cruise lines.
Mm-hmm.
They basically created.
I sent my mom. My mom went because she went on a. I sent her wherever she wanted to go. She's funny though. It's like Will Smith's mom flies. They just got back from Greece, from the Mediterranean. Had a fabulous time on a yacht, sailing up and around and whatever, and went to Paris. And then she called my mother because she wanted to go to Paris again and go shopping. And my mother was like, I don't want to go to a damn Paris. I'll stay right in Atlantic City. I said, Ma, she said, well, hell, I like where I live. I don't feel like going over there. It's funny. It's funny. I said, Mother, do you realize there ain't that many people in the world who would turn down a free trip to Paris? She said, I don't care.
What do you enjoy about voiceover?
Money. And I love the fact that you can do it. You do voiceover?
Not much.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun.
I'd like
and
to.
all of you, you can make your money doing voiceovers. Get you a good voiceover agent. Okay? Work on your voiceovers, work on all that stuff. Because when it's, because I remember when I first got here and they had a big strike and everybody was out of work and I was doing voiceovers, I'd get checks in the mail like that. Voiceovers, best kept secret in the world. And commercials. Uh-huh.
As the voice of Shredder, do you go to like conventions and Comic-Con and stuff like that?
Well, I used to when I did Beauty and the Beast.
Oh yeah.
So I would go to some of those things, and I think they want me to go to one in London, which is sure probably go there. I'll go. No, fly me. Fly me away. First class? Oh yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Fly me here. Yes, I'll have a little suite. Thank you so much. I like that.
I like it.
I like living well. I've lived the other way.
Are you a wine connoisseur?
No,
No.
no, I don't drink.
That would probably make you not a wine.
Not a wine connoisseur. Nope. Never liked the taste of alcohol. And that was funny. It's the only whippings I got in life. I got beat for two things. Lying, because if you lie, you steal. If you steal, you do anything. And letting yourself get talked into doing something I told you not to do. And that was it. And it's funny, that second one got me through high school. Because peer pressure didn't exist for me. You know? Come on, man, let's go have a drink. No, thank you. Oh, you just a punk. Okay. All right, if you say so.
Do you remember watching? What do you remember watching when you were growing up, as far as either TV or movies?
There was a movie I saw when I was about 8. And I keep in mind, there weren't a lot of films with African Americans. And this movie was called The Well. And I'd never seen us in a movie like this. And it was a story of this little black girl who fell down a well in the South. And the black community thought the white community had did something to her. And they were up in arms. And a black preacher and a white preacher got together and brought the town together to find her. And they found her in the well and they pulled her up. I'd never seen that before. And then, Black Orpheus. Ooh. Fell in love with Maripesa Dawn. Ooh, my God. And the music. And Carmen Jones.
Yes.
Dorothy Dandridge, Holly Jesus. I don't know what to tell you. And then I saw those, and I saw us, but I never thought about doing this. This was not something I thought about doing. You know, but I did watch, and I loved old movies. You know, Gaslight and all those old films, and Hitchcock and all of his films, and the Beauty and the Beast, the Cocteau. Mm. Yeah, I remember when I saw that was magic. That was just simply magic. And that's when I guess I figured that films were fun and they could be interesting, but I didn't really see me in them. But I'd never seen a play. It was funny. I went to London for my fellowship. And that was the first place I'd ever seen a play. I'd never seen a play because I'd either been in one,
Right.
you know, and the first play I saw was Wild Oats by John O'Keefe. And I thought I would die. It was so funny.
So now I take it you've continued to see theater.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Who do you admire, theater actors?
Oh God. Oh God. There's so many. I mean,
Have you ever
Judi
seen? Have
Dench.
you ever seen a theater actor and then seen him on in a film or television? And can you quantify what it is that's particularly exciting about that particular actor on stage, as opposed to you've seen? I've seen him do television, but this person really comes alive on stage.
You come alive on stage because stage is alive.
I was just wondering if there's anybody who stood out.
They all stood out. I saw Jelly's Last Jam. I saw
Gregory Hines.
Gregory Hines. I saw, they all stood out. I mean, and to have these people dancing and singing and carrying on the stage live, right there. Oh God, it's amazing. I saw, Dennis Arndt, who's here. I've seen a lot of people on stage, and I've come to the conclusion, and I know you're gonna hate me saying this all the time, but that it's so alive because it is live. I can watch TV film and admire the expertise that it takes to do that, the artistry that film takes to do, the performances I can watch. It's like Daniel Day-Lewis when he did My Left Foot, because I could appreciate the work he did, because I didn't know him. I thought he was like that. And then when I saw that he got when he got the Academy Award, I was like, oh my God, but to see someone be that involved in the work, to be that involved yourself. When you can lose yourself in the work, that's sex, pure sex. And you young kids who don't know anything about the theater, you need to get your little butts to the stage. Mamas and daddies, get them to the stage. Don't let them just fall for this little movie, TV star stuff. Okay? Get them to the stage.
You have a favorite character that you've played?
Oh, God. Othello. And who else did I play? Oh, the Jitney. And then, no, Othello. Then every time I do him, I discover something else about him. And every time I do Shakespeare, I discover something else about it. Something else that's more vibrant, that's more live, more real for some reason. And it's strange that something that's 400 years old can be alive. And I'll say this also, for actors of color, Shakespeare. You need to study Shakespeare. Study the craft, the words, the language, the rhythms, to hear what he says. It's just,
A couple people asked for not necessarily kids, but people who are just getting here and just getting started. Any advice?
Yeah, get in a class, get in a play, somewhere. It's best to work. It's best to work than not work. If that means doing a little community theater piece, a little whatever, it doesn't really matter. Take a class.
You still take
I
class?
recommend Shakespeare. No, I take Shakespeare classes. Just give me
Shakespeare
something.
study, like a literary study?
Yeah, a study and pieces like that, just to help me keep my mouth around the words, around the language. The language is important. I mean, it's for everybody. See, the difference in film too, and they talk about a look, and the camera goes in, and the camera gets all this and all this other stuff, and and all that's fine, But it's also important to have the words. If you don't have the words out, have them in here. Whatever those words are, because it's amazing how they translate. People say, you can think fish for sale, and it translates. No, not quite. It'll translate into that you're thinking, but it won't translate into what you're feeling.
You ever taught acting?
I don't have much patience. When we were in San Diego, I taught. I had a little thing, and we taught. I'm thinking about it. Because I need something to do. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, well, I was curious about that. What do you do in your? How do you approach your downtime?
It makes me crazy. I can't stand it. But I'm teaching acting. I am not there to motivate people. Okay? You do the work. If you're not willing to do the work, I don't need to talk to you. And that's work. And if it's not as important to you as it is to me, then you need to go to somebody else. I'm a reader. I believe in reading. I don't believe if I'm teaching you acting, then it's not going to happen just in those 1 or 2 hours that we're together. It's outside, what work you do outside of us, what things you bring to the class, and it's going to involve Shakespeare. It's going to involve Shakespeare. It's going to involve the classics. It's going to involve August Wilson. It's going to involve a lot of things. You're going to have to be a red person. Red person. What does that mean?
Well read.
Okay, never mind.
Well, Tim Taylor wants to know, is there a director do you remember that really brought out the best in you? And if so, why?
Yes, Claude Purdy. Claude Purdy and Luther James. Early on, we did Sisby Bonzi's Dead on the Island. Luther James. Because and I don't know how to explain it. And he was, it's one thing to work with props. He taught us how to work without them. Because the play, he directed us in Sisby Bonzi is Dead and the Island by Fugare. And the island is a platform, 8 by 12, something like that, with 2 buckets, 2 mop heads, and that's it. And the play takes place in that square. And you have to make, in South Africa, on Robben Island, so you have to make the beach, the heat, the work, the prison, the prisoners, all you, nothing else. And you have 2 buckets and 2 mop heads. Boy, that was the hardest shit I ever saw in my life. And he did that. Before we were finished, I saw it. Before we were finished, I saw it. I was there, which was amazing to me. Claude Purdy taught me about he did what? He did Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. He did August Wilson. He taught me August Wilson. Because I did, and I've only done 2 plays with him. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Jitney. And he taught me the rhythm of these plays. Because these are rhythms. This was jazz. Because August Wilson writes in jazz. And the rhythms and whatever, and he writes in the vernacular of us, of black people, and how that moves. And it's fast, and then what it does. It makes you reach for stuff. Some plays will make you wait for you. August doesn't wait for you. You have to go. Don't have time. Gotta go. Yeah. And it's you smiling like you know what I'm talking.
I know both those gentlemen.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know Luther? Oh yeah. He's passed now.
Yeah.
How do you approach what are you expecting when you walk in the door and meet your director for the first time?
I don't expect a thing. I expect nothing. That way you can't be disappointed. But, you know, I expect you to, when I first got here, I was looking for a job, and there was an ad in the paper for Othello. They were going to do Othello, and it was going to be over at King's Theater somewhere, over in West Hollywood. And I walked in, and the director looked like he was about 18 years old. And he was going to, his concept, which already gave me pause. He said, yes, let me explain my concept to you. Okay. Was that the play took place in South Africa in 1872. Why? I didn't understand. So I left. But I didn't expect to understand when I saw him. But I had to wait till I saw him, because then I was going before my life. And I was going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Even though you're young, that doesn't mean you're not brilliant. But you're going to give me an Othello in 1872 in South Africa? Are you insane? This would not be. This would not be. I left. So sometimes it's, you know, I've learned that if I expect too much, we did Romeo and Juliet down at the Amundsen with Sir Robert Brooks. What is his name? Sir somebody. Yeah, and I was excited. And we got there, first day of rehearsals, and his assistant is doing most of the directing. You know? And it's not making any sense to me. And I don't know why. I said, well, I'm a fairly intelligent person. It shouldn't be this difficult. But it was. Well, I'll stay until by the end of the play, maybe I'll understand. I didn't.
What do you need from a director?
I just need some insight. Insight I don't have. Mm-hmm. A direction. A way to discuss something and form it together. Don't tell me what to do with no reason. And if you're going to tell me what to do and I don't see it, I'm not going to do it. I try to be accommodating, but if it don't make sense to me, I'm sorry, it just doesn't make any sense.
What about situations where you've run into someone you're working with as an actor, and it's just not working? How do you approach that situation?
There's no way to approach that situation. You do the best you can, and because when the play opens, it's yours. Mm-hmm. When the play opens, it's yours. In rehearsal, we'll do all this. I'm trying to explain to you, and I don't get it. You don't want to get said, okay, fine. And at some point, I see where you just simply won't hear me. You don't want to do this. You want to do it the way you do it. Fine. Then I'll do it the way I do it, as long as it doesn't affect the other actors in the play. I don't know what else to do.
Any situations you remember where you went up on your lines?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh God. We're doing Coriolanus. Oregon Shakespeare. Coriolanus. And no, it wasn't me. Yes, it was. It was me, because I was playing the big toe. I had a toe wide the big toe. And it was just, and I only went up because the wall fell down. Big block fell down off the wall. I was like, But we had one of the greatest ad-libbers in the world up there. He could ad-lib in iambic pentameter. It was just amazing. And we're doing Love's Labor's Lost, which is a pretty thick play. Not one of the best. And Barry Kraft. And we're out on the stage. And all of a sudden, is it pause. Then the next thing we know, and everybody on the stage is like, what the hell is he saying? What is this? See, in Oregon Shakes, there are people who go to the theater with the first folio and sit down and read along with you. And so they're sitting in the front looking like this. And everybody backstage is, come here, come here, come here. And he must have gone on for like 5-10 minutes. You know, and people on stage like, what the hell is he? Then finally somebody just jumped in. Whoa, Mama, they were doing the room. It was just, oh God. And we're doing Coriolanus, and they were having this bit, Dennis Arndt and this other guy were having a big sword fight scene. Stage is full, theater's full. There's 600 people in the theater. Right here, in the front, that seat right there. They're doing this big sword fight. They hit, boom, and Aufidius' sword breaks off, flies out into the audience, boom, and sticks right there in that chair. Goes, whoa, 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 whoa. And the woman next to us like, and they're, brilliant, brilliant. So thank God they thought we did it on purpose. It was amazing. But that's what's so exciting about live theater, boy. You never know. You never know. You better have a way to recover. We were doing Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and the guy was playing this role. Oh God, I don't know why he did this. He lost 6 pages of dialogue. And we're all off the stage. And we just kind of look at each other. What the hell are we gonna do? That's 6 pages of dialogue. Just. And we find somebody said something, and everybody got behind stage and said, "You son of a bitch! I was ready to kill you!" God.
You seen any movies lately?
No. What have I seen? No. I haven't. Yes, Pan's Labyrinth.
You like
Which
it?
was just brilliant, but my God, it wasn't a movie I expected. I didn't expect it, but oof. And what else did I see? Something, because I start watching movies on my television. I'm not spending $20 to go to movies.
And now I'm going to ask the audience's indulgence. Can we get the 2 young gentlemen, Adrian and Ishmael, to sing us out, give us the outro?
Ooh.
I think they know a particular song that you...
Oh, God.
Come on down.
You take the stage, sweetheart. When they ask
Come on.
When they ask you to take the stage, sweetheart, take the stage.
Ready? You sang a song for me.
Find your light and take the stage. There you go.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground is where I spent most of my days. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, and I was shooting some b-ball outside the school when a couple of guys, they were up to no good, started making trouble in the neighborhood. I got in one little fight, my mom got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel-Air."
Ishmael, Adrian, and Mr. James Avery.
Thank you.